What if they didn't have a flood insurance policy? Will FEMA cover it? Will they not? How much flood insurance do you need? Well, I'm glad you asked. Hey Social Sphere, this is CF Hogue from My Insurance People. Today we're going to dive into flood insurance and what it covers, what it does not, and the difference between that and your standard homeowner's form. With severe weather on the rise, whether it's tropical storms, flash flooding, or just bad luck, we think you should look into insurance. Maybe you don't, but maybe you should. We're a local independent agency, so we have private options and an NFIP option. Flood insurance policies are separate from the standard homeowner's form. Like I previously said in another video, it does not include water backup. Again, those are on the pipes. On a previous video, we talked about water backup. That is from the inside pipes on your home if they were to burst and cause water to accumulate in your home. A flood insurance policy is water coming from the outside of your home, again, from a storm, flash flooding, or bad luck. In 2025, just this year, you've probably heard of numerous stories where communities aren't used to having flooding. They did suffer a flood, and what if they didn't have a flood insurance policy? Will FEMA cover it? Will they not? Let's find out. In an area like Roanoke or Salem, Southwest Virginia, we experienced flash flooding more than anything. But if y'all remember, in 1985, there was a huge flood in the Roanoke area. It was unexpected, and this has been 40 years. So in 40 years' time, will we suffer another flood? The main two categories in your flood policy are building and contents. If there's enough water, your home can be severely damaged or it could float away. Not trying to scare you folks, but it happens. What is your building coverage in flood? Well, your building coverage is the structure, everything that supports the structure. And again, if the whole structure were to float away, you need replacement cost coverage on your flood insurance policies. Now, your contents coverage, all of your valuables, your clothes, your furniture, your technology, it would be covered on a flood insurance policy. But there's one thing to remember about your contents coverage. With your contents coverage, most companies ask that you store most of your valuables on a higher level. It doesn't mean that they won't cover in a basement level or a lower level, but they ask that most of your valuables be stored at the highest level. The reason behind that is if a flood was to occur, they know it's going to go to the bottom level first. So are you a little timid about asking for flood insurance? I think you should. Maybe you should call us, let us give you a quote, or at least give you some information. There's a lot of information online that we figure out, whether it's elevation, prior floods in the area, or loss reports due to flooding. So back again on the building coverage, there are structural components that you need to think about. Your walls, your foundations, your studs, everything that's attached to the structure. What about your utilities? Those can get flooded out and can be damaged, destroyed, and of no longer of use. Same goes for your appliances. Once a flood occurs and your stove is flooded underneath floodwaters, of course, it needs to be covered. Or what about that new flooring that you just put down in your home? What if you were to suffer a flood loss? You would want that replaced exactly how you got it done. Now, on contents coverage, there are things that money can't buy or buy back. You can't buy back your photos. You can't buy back some of your memories, but everything else would be covered. Again, if you have any questions about your contents coverage or flood insurance in general, give us a holler at 540-401-6789 and we'll talk about it right now. When you think about contents coverage, think about personal property, your clothes in the closet, your furniture, your TVs, your appliances, like your refrigerator, like your oven and stove, and like your microwave. Again, if they were submerged in water, they're not going to be of use. Let's get those things covered. Replacement cost and actual cash value are the two modes of claims expenses. And of course, I would always recommend replacement cost on any of your policy coverage forms. Some things on a flood insurance policy are going to be covered at actual cash value with no way to negotiate for replacement cost. Again, most of that is the contents in your basement or bottom level. I will reiterate that we have private flood options and those premiums are different depending on the company I quote them with. FEMA is limited. They're not funded by the public, so they will help out when they can, but it is like a well that will dry. On your policy, you'll see an effective date of, let's say, October 1st, but most policies have a 30-day waiting period, so you could actually establish coverage 30 days later after you sign, which would be approximately November 1st. If you want to think about it like this, 1 inch of flooding can cause up to $25,000 in a loss. So what about 2 inches? What about 4? How much flood insurance do you need? Well, I'm glad you asked. I recommend always purchasing a replacement cost policy, whether that be on the building and contents, but I recommend building and contents at replacement cost value. You've heard of the NFIP. It's a federally backed program that offers you coverage, but sometimes we recommend a private option. Sometimes you can save money, sometimes it's just better coverage, or there's more coverage offered. Flood insurance doesn't stop at personal flood insurance for just homes. Sometimes there's commercial flood risk and excess flood risks. Are you unsure if your home is located in a flood zone? Well, that's what I'm here for. If you'll call our number 540-401-6789 or just shoot me a quick email at cf@myinsurancepeople.com. Also hit the like and subscribe button. We are on other platforms, but if you have any questions, we'll look at the comments and I might reach out to you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.